I just won gold place in this month's Hobbytown Tamiya Mini 4-Wheel Drive Tune Class races! It goes without saying that I raced against stellar competition at this month's Hobbytown Tamiya Mini 4-Wheel Drive races. And yeah, I prevailed with this car. Yay! So all of you know that I did some things to my car to allow it to go faster. So let's take a look at some of the changes that I made. So what I did was I swapped out alkalines for rechargeable batteries. That's my first thing. I remember last month, one of my colleagues sat down with me and said, you know, you just have to go faster. You're fast and I'm fast, but these people are so much faster, referring to the competition that was with us at the time. And I said, I know I can be faster. I know that if I make this one simple, subtle change, I can get my car to be faster. But you don't want to necessarily be the fastest car there. You want to be fast and stable at the same time. So how can you do this? How can you replace alkaline batteries, which weigh typically 48 grams, with rechargeable batteries that typically weigh 12 grams less? You're going to have to make up the weight somehow. If you don't, you can cause lots of instability and course outs. So what I mean by this is if you simply swap the batteries and you race this around various tracks, you might be able to get this car to stay put. However, what you need to do is add additional weight to compensate for the lost weight. So if you reduce this weight by 12 grams, that's quite a bit. You're knocking it down to this very light amount of load in the car. So what you need to do is just add a little bit more weight so that it will maintain its stability. This is rock solid when it's got alkaline batteries in it. However, with rechargeables on certain tracks, this is going to course out too. Like this is a very stable car with these rollers in the back. These are some of the most stable rollers that you can purchase. The ones that aren't like, what is it they call it, aspirated, where they have holes in them so that they're lighter and they spin supposedly faster. Well, you know what? These are going to be the types of rollers that you want to use when you're dealing with hairpin turns, things like that. And if your track is relatively flat, like this month's Hobbytown track was, it was basically flat. It was a speed track. It had lots of twists and turns. And yeah, it was totally meant for speed demons. So the fastest car is going to win in the races this month. And what I needed to do to get this car to be mega fast was to consider the balance of the weight in this car. So what I did was I had that little cake of weights, that brick that you break apart into little pieces, and I had initially a 3-gram weight basically mounted inside the car on the underside of this cowl. So I had it right here, and I'll show you what I did. I basically mounted it right underneath the animal right here. So there's a screw right there, and you can basically affix this weight right here with a lock nut, a 2mm lock nut, and a screw. And it's not going to hold entirely. You need to have this rubber pipe right here. You push this rubber pipe down, and that secures the whole thing in place. And then you tape over it with tape, and you secure it on the sides like this. Just squish it on the sides like this. And pretty much it stays in place. Yay! Very little chance for bumping it, jostling it, things like that. So you want to make sure that what you've installed is stable and solid as well, making your car stable and solid. So I decided to place it here because this is basically the center of gravity of the vehicle. You want to basically, if you want to add weight to a vehicle, put it in the center of the car. Not towards the front, not towards the rear, unless you're trying to go for that dynamic. So if you're dealing with jumps, things like that, you probably want to put a little more weight in the front. Just like FMA chassis have their motors towards the front, adding additional weight to the front, enabling FMA chassis cars to be great over jumps, you would probably want to shift the weight to the front if you were dealing with jumps. But here we have a flat track, and the only challenge really, besides those hairpin turns, which coursed out a lot of vehicles in the races, basically the only thing that we had to deal with that was somewhat challenging was the rainbow lane changer. And so if you don't traverse the rainbow lane changer properly, you can slow down in the rainbow lane changer. You can lose a lot of speed that way. So you want to make sure that you have your brake settings right too. Now on a small wheeled car like this, you have to be especially careful about your brake settings. So here on the front of my car, I have here a very thin 2mm brake pad, as well as on the rear I've got 2mm brake pads here and here. You see the colors of these. The white is the new red. This is supposed to be red, but I think it's pink. So yeah, white is the new pink. And I basically placed 2mm pads here and here and here, and this worked out great for this particular track. There were a lot of people who were coursing out for whatever reason. They had FMA chassis, for example. FMA chassis didn't fare as well on this particular track, but I can't say anything bad about FMA chassis because they fared so well for me and other racers on all the Hobbytown, all the AAA tracks. So yeah, if you've got a good setup for your FMA racer, then you'll probably fare well in a lot of the AAA or Hobbytown tracks and many other tracks out there too. So yeah, FMA is like mini four-wheel drive racers' like one of their favorite chassis. So I don't speak for everybody, of course. I'm just speaking from my experience with what I see out there, and I just see a lot of FMA chassis cars. Pretty cool. So yeah, this is a VZ chassis, which was perfect for this particular track. This VZ chassis car, because of the way I built it, very stable and solid, it was fast enough. So I called this the Millennium Falcon, because if you remember Han Solo talking about his Millennium Falcon and how his ship was like the fastest ship to run that Kessel run in so many parsecs or something like that, well, this is just like that. So this is like a piecemeal created kind of car where I had to basically coax as much speed out of it as I could. So just by changing the batteries, I had to also make sure that it was stable as well. And yeah, this car, this VZ car, is not going to be as fast as FMA cars. So I had to try to coax as much speed as I could out of it. And how do I do that? I had to make sure that these rollers, which are a little heavier than other people's rollers, I had to make sure that these rollers spun totally freely. So I was always oiling them up after every race to make sure that they were, that they spun infinitely. Yeah, pretty cool. And also I oiled up right there in between, like the axles, between the axle and the body of it. So yeah, pretty cool. So I had to make sure that all of that was happening. And yeah, I was using my Ganapati oil for that. So it's a special oil that I designed. And yeah, it helps me increase the speed of my car by 2 kilometers per hour. And yeah, pretty cool, pretty cool. So yes, so placing this Super 2 car, this cowl was originally placed on top of a Super 2 chassis, and I said to myself, you know what, I want to switch to VZ, and I did. And switching to VZ was probably the best thing that I could do for this particular car, because it is like mega fast with this VZ chassis. So right here, this is my latch of choice. This is for an AR chassis, this latch. And it basically secures the cowl right onto the body, the chassis, really well. And it keeps it in place and adds a little bit of weight, 0.5 gram of weight to the back of this. So yeah, also consider weight towards the rear of the vehicle besides weight in the middle and weight up front. So yeah, I have these pretty heavy dampers on the front. Yeah, and some lighter ones in the rear, but I also make up for it with this little slightly heavier latch on the back. And I've got these side weights that are pretty heavy. So overall, this car, you would think it'd be like slow, stable, solid. So I had to coax as much speed as I could with it, because I know that if I reduced a lot of the damper weight, sure, this car would have been even faster, but it would have coursed out more, and I don't want that. I want this to stay on the track. Yeah. So yes, I prevailed. This car was indeed the fastest, and yeah, pretty cool. And so I won as a prize. Here's the new Hobbytown these little trophy awards. Yeah, it looks like a little track, as you see here. And P2 class, first place. Cool. And some of the prizes that I won, I got to choose a kit. So here it is. This is the new Race Beer Asia Challenge 2023 special. Yay! And also, I got this, which is the HG carbon stay for wide front sliding damper carbon plate. Yay! And the item number there is 95641. Yay! And here, and this is good for a lot of Hobbytown tracks because they use a lot of digital curves typically on their tracks. So using something like this would help mitigate the stability problems when you're using solid mounted carbon plates versus sliding damper carbon plates. So here we have also a little prize, item 95492, the rubber body catches in black and yellow. Yeah, pretty cool. Pretty cool, pretty cool. So yes, these 3 prizes and the trophy. Yay. And I also was able to get at Hobbytown, ooh, the new Lupine Racer 2. Yay. So this here is the new doggy racer. Yes, the new animal doggy racer, and it's got a realistic wolf up front. Now, personally, I don't like the real animals. I like the ones that look kind of fake. I like this. Like the pig racer is like, I mean, this is preposterously cute, right? So my animal racers that I really like are the ones that are like this, where it's like a cute animal versus a realistic animal. This one looks kind of fierce, don't you think? This animal looks like it can actually do some damage. Yeah. I don't know how fast this car is. I didn't take a look at the specs here, but I'm pretty sure that it's probably just a 5-to-1 gear ratio, because all of these kits usually are, and it is, yeah, 5-to-1, but it's got big wheels, so it has a little bit better of a chance than your typical 4-to-1 vehicle, for example, that only has smaller wheels. So it's got a slightly better chance than nothing. So it's probably going to be as fast as the Owl Racer. That's my gut feeling about this. So the Owl Racer was known to be pretty decent on certain 3-lane tracks, but yeah, in general, if you were to build a box stock animal racer kit, you probably won't win many races, but you know, it's fun to race them because they're animal racers. And really, it's fun to upgrade them so that you have a Toon Class car that's race-worthy. Yeah. So everybody, if you love this video, please slam the like button, subscribe to my channel. You'll see more videos just like this one. Until next time, everybody, see you. Bye.